Monday, April 28th, market analysis. Stan Ehrlich, good morning, 9:55 California time. And we have a resistance area in the stock indexes, and I always start out with the stock indexes. I go to futures, and then I'm monitoring three different stocks at the moment, Tesla included, Apple also. Indexes have rallied above last week's high, Friday's high, slightly early, but still basically in resistance areas, which differ depending upon which exact index you're talking about, and turned down. Not a lot, but we're down about 4 points. We were down maybe about 5 on the E-mini, meaning 40 and 50, and right now 45. So it won't take much to get below Friday's low. Friday was a fairly narrow, not very volatile, quiet day. But we made a new high, and now it's failing. And it's in a resistance area as well. So this could be the beginning of a down move. There is a small gap to close. I forgot to put a little marker there on the E-mini. So here we go. Well, it's not doing what I expected. Forget it. And that gap is going to be closed at 53.40, let's call it. Yeah, a little bit below. And exactly, 53.39.25 closes a small gap from last week. I think that's my first target. Next is going to be, and I do think this is going to be reached, 51.31. Now that's much more significant, because that will be the lowest low for approximately, let's say it'll take a week, 3 weeks at the time, a week from now, if that's how long it takes to get there. Remember, bear moves fall faster than bull moves go up. And that rally took 5 days. Maybe it'll take 4 or 3 on the way down. I don't know, but quicker, probably. Now, if the market cannot hold the lows that we made in early April, we have a serious situation. It would be very bearish, intermediate to longer term, probably a few months worth. Let's see what happens. Now, the 1-minute chart on the E-mini has made a new low from the session, which is basically last night, and is staying there for a bit. And at the moment, looks like it's going to start to make new lows again. I think it's going to. If it gets below yesterday's low, that will be a bearish engulfing. We're not overbought, so I can't get a red bearish ER sell signal officially, but it implies the market's going to slip off some more, which is just fine with me. I got gaps to close, and I am basically bearish. I was trying to pinpoint the rally high, which looks like it could be today, especially if we have that bearish engulfing. Now, if it turns around, closes strong, unchanged to higher, that commentary is null and void, and I would be a little bit more friendly, but not too much. We're not too far away from overbought, so I couldn't expect a lot more to the upside, and I don't think that's going to happen. I think we may be turning down. Next, Spider, same story. Resistance area got higher, currently lower, 3.5, and it wouldn't take much to get below 543.60, let's say. I think that'll do the job. Nah, maybe it's, what is it? Get below 543.69. Anything below that would be a bearish engulfing at the time, and it's probably going to be later today, so the likelihood is it would stay lower on the close, i.e. bearish engulfing. We haven't got it yet. Definitely something to watch for. Next chart is going to be the Spider. I've got the 1-minute data. Next is the bearish engulfing that we don't have quite yet. I'm noticing that all my strategies are turned off. Sorry about that. We got regular candlesticks today. No ER signal, red and green bars. But no, I'll put it back up for tomorrow. Bearish engulfing, almost, not quite yet. Resistance area just poked today the first time, accurately. Yeah, I think I'm going to leave it there. I could have lowered it just a little tiny bit for the bottom, but it wouldn't make much difference. So there's a gap to close below the market also. Then we've got that last low to get below, which was April 21st. And of course, if we break the low in early April, we got a big problem. So let's see if we can get down and close this gap first, and then how it handles that, where we are. Next is going to be 427-ish. Next chart, 1 minute. QQQ. Close to making a lower low, not quite yet. Next, we've got the higher high in a resistance area. Not quite a bearish engulfing, but close. Looks like the NASDAQ may even start to do it first, if it does happen. YM, higher high than Friday and Thursday, and almost the exact same high as last week at the bottom of a resistance area, and now turning down. So this looks like it's coming down the slowest of the group, but the Russell we'll see in a moment. And, well, about the same, I suppose. Okay, the Russell. I think it's about the same as everybody else. There's nothing particularly unique. It did make a new high for this last few weeks, but it didn't quite get to my resistance level. Doesn't have to. The bearish engulfing is just supposed to turn it around regardless of other circumstances, but other circumstances help. Next, Russell, 1 minute. Now let's look at bonds. We've got a rally that makes a minor new high. We're still higher in the opening and higher than the previous close. All add up to fairly decent strength. Now, we're at the top of this resistance area. I'd love to see it close around the high of the day so far, if not making new highs. That would be a little bit more convincing, but the fact that we're right smack at the top of the resistance area, minor at the moment problem. If we pull back, then that would have stopped it, but I can't tell at the moment. So we're not anywhere near overbought, so that's not a problem. So I think it's going to be good. Next stop on the way up is 1720, 117.20, two low 118s. And if it gets through that, the next one up is 19 and 24, 119, 23, 24, up to about 120.27. Okay, let's see how we can go, how far we can go. And again, 62 or 1 on the RSI is pretty low. So it's a little on the high side neutral, not helping us decide anything. Next, notes, higher high, almost high and last, doing a little bit better, stronger, quicker than the bonds, looking good. There's nothing really. Okay, there should be a resistance area based on these lows back over here that I haven't put on the chart, but let's see if I'm going to be able to do that right now. Looks like it's good. So I'll start right around those lows right there, and that low right there, and all the way over to here. Lately, it hasn't had any effect whatsoever, and I'm not sure I like this that much. In fact, I don't. Erase it. So I haven't got any resistance to speak of on the notes. Maybe slightly higher, but I think it could come up to 113.21, and then you've got the 14.20 area. Next, crude, heat, unleaded. We've got a bearish engulfing at the moment in a resistance area, and without making a new high for the rally, on top of the fact that we had a bearish engulfing last week. Now, neither one turned our RSI red or green. This is an official buy signal. That's why the RSI is green. You can just translate that to a green candlestick, but I don't have any strategies running. I apologize again for today. This is definitely a sell signal, and I did put a red circle around it, so that bearish engulfing was an official ER sell signal. So we picked a high and a low lately. They've been great. I'm worried. I think that's all we're going to get out of that ER buy signal into resistance area, bearish engulfing last week, and on top of that, another one close to getting down to the bottom of the support. Thought if we close below 61.40, it could start to slide more. Next, and that's what I think is about to happen. Next, we've got a bearish, no we don't, heating oil just made a slightly higher high in resistance than only the last couple of days, but not even higher than Wednesday of last week. So it's having a lot of trouble with a whole bunch of highs in this resistance zone, and lower on the day at the moment implies it could still make an outside down day. Again, no rally has been strong enough to get overbought, so I'm not going to get a signal other than the candlestick, bearish engulfing, normal results, pushing market down a little. And maybe a lot, but at least something. Next, usually, natural gas, the opposite. We've gotten down to my minimum downside objective. We got oversold for over a week. Looks like 6 trading days as of today, and finally starting to pop up nicely. So this is a low short term, past tense. I warned you that it was likely to be coming. And too bad we didn't get below yesterday's low, Friday's low. Then we would have a bullish engulfing ER buy signal, and the RSI would have turned green. But it's not green. So no official buy signal, but I think this is the beginning of a rally. How much? 3.8, 3.9. Next, gold had a bearish engulfing on Friday and a legitimate sell signal. That's why RSI is red. It doesn't have to be on the exact same day as it's overbought or oversold for a sell signal or a buy signal. It can be in this condition shortly after being overbought or oversold. That was overbought just 2 days ago. So I like what I see. We are at the moment higher on the day. Now, as long as we don't get above yesterday's high, the bearish engulfing's high, the trade is still basically good trade or signal. So looking for lower levels. Next, we have an outside down day, but it wasn't overbought, so it's not an official signal in silver on Friday. And although we're up a little bit on the day, we made a minor lower low. Let's see if we can get below last week's lows, and then also have a little bit of a breakout of the support level, which is slightly below us at 32.5. Yeah, I still think it's on the way down. Next, we've got the platinum, strong, new highs, staying there, relatively close to the high of the day, and way above the opening, which started out fairly neutral. We did have a bullish engulfing last week that looked good, and it is a minor low at this point. It's not a signal per se, just a bullish engulfing, because my overbought oversold didn't turn red or green. It did here on April 9th, and 2 days later, April 11th, and we now have a new high for the trend. Still looking for probably 1032 minimum, and then 1050, and then resistance seems very likely, frankly. Let's call it my upside objective, and we will be overbought by then, probably before then. So we might have a little zigzag on the way up, but my upside objective is really 1063. Next, we've got high-grade copper. Doji inside day, down just a squeak. Nothing happening here. No signal on top. A little bit of a bearish engulfing on Friday. Probably looking for it to move back down. We did not get overbought. We came relatively close, not super close, but And, well, we got up to about 70, but I like 75, remember, 72. Okay, so I think it's on its way down, and we're starting to get stuck between a rock and a hard spot. This is a fairly significant longer-term resistance level. I should probably put a line across these highs in here. This is number 4 in this ballpark. Okay, looking for lower levels, 4.6 and down. Next, grain markets, beans, oil, meal, corn, wheat. Now, at the moment, we're slightly higher on the day. We dipped a little lower than Friday, but that's it. We're still above Thursday's low and Wednesday and Tuesday of last week, and we're higher on the day at the moment. I think this could make new highs again, like Friday, close on a strong note, and be on its way up more. Remember, this is just the beginning of a gigantic head and shoulder bottom. If I'm right, the last shoulder low was on April 7th. Timing is right. The price was a little shallow, so I don't care. You could call this a double bottom if you wanted. It's not going to change the upside objective to speak of. They're both calculated to be about the same anyway, and that is way up to 1240. Let's see if we can keep going. Soybean oil has broken out last week. Here comes, oh, I'm sorry, wrong line. Just a second. Yep. Soybean oil broke resistance on Thursday last week. And I said at the time, I think it's heading toward the neckline, which it touched Friday of last week and stopped cold turkey there, which I also referred to, I believe, on Thursday of last week about how it might act, which it did. And we came down today very close to this little support area. It should act similar here as it might act once it gets over the neckline, and I'm still optimistic about that, and I think it could happen any moment or day now. This week, I'm expecting it. So this bullish upside objective measurement stick, I think, is going to go down as being the one I'm going to end up using. 6262, let's call it, double 62s. That's, of course, not exactly right, but it's very close for my minimum upside objective because of the large double shoulder, head and shoulder bottom, which almost broke out on Friday, failed, test of support, little dip down today, and now higher on the day. Don't turn your back on this one. When it crosses the neckline, it should do it on a high volume day and a very big rally day, maybe even 2 days like that in a row. But, a convincing breakout. Then come back down to the neckline, which is upward slanted very slightly. So it's going to be back down to around 51.20-ish. Let's say 51.15. Yeah, something like that. A little above 51, if I'm right. Now, the next one is soybean meal, and it might be starting to help, even though it made a lower low by a very small amount here today, just barely under Friday's lows. It looks like it could have an upside reversal, but it's not oversold, so I'm not going to get green bullish engulfing that I'll have available tomorrow when I turn these strategies on. They're all turned off, I'm sorry. So, and it takes too long to turn them on. So, a few minutes. So, this is neutral to encouraging. I really need to see it start closing above 310. That would be extremely encouraging, as long as it didn't do too much down here, which today being a doji is, happening. Let's look at the next one, and that's corn. Now, corn did make a double bottom recently, did break out to the upside. Now it came down a little lower than the beginning of support, but after a minor new low today, it's back up to approximately unchanged to maybe, about unchanged. So and the high of the day, and a little above where it opened. I think this could go up a little bit more and maybe even have a bullish engulfing outside up day. It's not oversold, so I'm not going to get green. We did get green on the second low of the double bottom, March 28th, and there's an official ER buy signal. Look at Friday's recording or tomorrow's. Next, we did make a new low in wheat. For the whole trend, this is the lowest low for years. We're not recovering yet. We're still relatively low in the range of the day. The only optimistic thing I can say, and it's extremely premature, is that if we don't close below the previous low and that close below 531 and it closes above 531, then you have made a lower low. You are oversold today. That's true. And there may not be any downside follow-through. This could be a bear trap, we call them. And the key is 531. If we close below 531, could fall apart for a day or two more, badly. If it closes above 531, you could have a bear trap, and you might watch very, very carefully for any other extremely short-term potential buy signals. Oversold, new low for the whole trend, but not closing below 531 is the combination. Next chart. Cattle. Higher high, higher in the opening, strong day, still bullish, still in a stampede. What can I say? maybe an upward slanting wedge. Maybe. Yeah, it's still possible. Just a second. Maybe. But I obviously need to turn around right away if that resistance line is going to stay resistance. No gaps to close. That gap was closed. Remove that. That's the best I can say. Otherwise, I'm bullish. But I don't see it turning yet. Miss Piggy. Bearish. Yes, definitely bearish engulfing today. And hey, we've got a brand new sell signal today. First time I've seen this for a few hours. This is an outside down day, bearish engulfing, when we are overbought. Just a moment. Here, this is worthwhile. Just this one. This will take maybe 20 seconds, and you'll see all the colors of the regular candlesticks, which are red or green. The candlestick is only red body. Here they go. There they go. So, yes, there it is, right in front of you. The outside down day today, an overbought condition caused my RSI to turn red. Therefore, when I turn the strategy back on again, I can tell you, skip that the price was going to also turn red. Perfect. Now, it did turn green, but that's not true. They haven't fixed their database still. And the reasoning was nobody's treating hogs lately. They're not in a rush to do it, and that's too bad. So, good. Turning bearish as of today, right now, or when the bearish engulfing happened an hour or two ago. And as long as it stays lower than the previous day's close on the close today, that's it. The signal's been given. Good on the close. I'm looking for lower levels. The lower the break, assuming 97.35, is going to get broken. And we're probably going to test 93.17. And because that's not all that far away, and since October, November, the trend has been down, we may even make it lower than that. This could be a pretty good size move. First stock, Shell. Minor new high, barely higher on the day, a few pennies. Nothing great. A little concerned that it could flip-flop back down again a bit. We do have a gap to close down here. Don't forget about that. Gaps are like a black hole in space. They tend to suck the price action back into the gap, which then, therefore, 63.40 cannot be ignored. There we got Apple. Higher high, but it's lower than the open and lower than yesterday's close by 75 cents. Not much, but that's it. Maybe we're going to have a bearish engulfing by the end of the day. I don't know. I can tell by my other monitors, I got a total of 3, that the market is now down about 5 points exactly at the E-mini at this tick. So we'll go back to it in just a moment. Wow. If we have a bearish engulfing in Apple today, that's going to support the likelihood that we will have had bearish engulfings in the indexes. And I see we're getting awfully close in the NASDAQ, QQQ, and NQ, but not quite there yet. Let's go back real quick, and then I'll let you go. 1 minute, E-mini has made new lows, not below Friday's lows, which again are 54.79-ish. Well, let's make it 80, 54.80. Below that, and we're at 55.02.3. We're going to have a bearish engulfing, and I think we're going to keep sinking, and I think that's quite possible yet today. You guys have a great day and profitable trading to you.